I'm sitting on the floor. It's a rainy day, pouring rain, depressing day, dark. I'm on the floor of my room and I'm working on a presentation that I have to give on a Monday morning. I printed my presentation on A4 papers and scattered those papers around the floor, and I'm crawling from one slide to the next, trying to make sense of that storyline, trying to make sense of the numbers. But I can't. My brain is frozen, phased out. I'm in a blackout. Why is that? I realized I was more concerned about the reaction that my manager would have on the Monday morning when looking at the presentation than I was concentrating on the presentation itself. My manager, he was a short, bald guy, very frustrated guy. He had this mean look, and whenever he could find your weak spot, he would hit hard on it. I realized I was working for a fear-based organization, an organization that motivated its people to move by frightening them. A few years later, I went on and I became an entrepreneur. I had the privilege to take over my family business, and some years later, I started a hospitality company on the side. For me, it was a liberation. The quality of my work soared through the roof. Creativity was unleashed. I could really concentrate and work on things I was passionate about for the first time. The problem was that the company that I took over was also based on fear. I realized it whenever I spotted a problem or suggested an improvement. The two employees that were there went defensive right away. They phased out. They were so used to that hierarchical and formal organization that they couldn't do anything else than being defensive. The real problem here was that I, myself, in that situation, started to behave like my short, bald manager used to behave with me. I mean, come on, can you believe it? I've been hating so much to work with that guy for years. And now I'm behaving like him? No way. That was my epiphany. That was the moment I decided I wanted to do things profoundly differently. I wanted people that worked with me to feel the same way I felt when I became an entrepreneur. To feel their creativity unleash, to feel passion. And so I went on and started to build this trust-based organization. This wasn't always easy. The initial employees didn't make this mentality shift, and unfortunately I had to go. And whenever I hired new people, I made very clear to them that yes, they're coming to an organization where they have a lot of freedom. Freedom to take decisions, freedom to make mistakes, because only through mistakes you can really innovate. Freedom to work whenever they wanted and from wherever they wanted. But it also comes with a big package of responsibility. Ownership of your own work. Responsibility to bring the company forward and to be an active part of it. Responsibility to think. You have no boss that thinks for you. You have to think yourself. A trust-based organization is based on respect, on the assumption that people are adults and not kids, and that they always do their best. I remember once Albert went to Barbara and told her he had screwed up massively. He forgot a deadline, and after that deadline, a certain contract couldn't be terminated anymore. Barbara, instead of punishing him, sat down with him, trying to understand how the mistake had occurred, and together they redrafted that process in order to make sure that that mistake wouldn't happen again. And they even implemented an IT tool to track deadlines. In a trust-based organization, there's no working hours. There's no holidays set. I remember once Robert came to me and he said, "Can I take the Thursday afternoon off and work on a Saturday?" And I'm like, "Robert, why are you asking me? We have a vision for this company where it has to be in 5 years, and we're all aligned on that. And we're all motivated by that. We broke it down to quarterly, monthly goals, and we share those. And you know you can always come to me if you have trouble reaching that goal. But as long as you're working on that goal, then you can work whenever you want and wherever you want. I don't care. A trust-based organization is based on the fact that everyone is an entrepreneur and that the decision-making is shared through the organization. Think about the situation. You're in a hotel and you go to the front office because your Wi-Fi is not working. The guy at the reception tells you, "Yes, sir, I will report the problem to my manager." He goes and reports the problem to his manager. His manager opens a ticket to maintenance. Maintenance asks the budget to finance. Finance gives the budget to maintenance. Maintenance calls an external company that comes and fixes the problem. And the problem is fixed after 3 days. But you left 2 days before. Does it sound familiar? This would never happen in a trust-based organization. Because in a trust-based organization, you have the decision-making power there where it's needed. What actually happened at our company is that a guest went to Dora and told her that the internet wasn't working. Dora went to the shop next door, bought one of those Wi-Fi routers and plugged it into the plug-in on the walls of the guest. The guest had internet 5 minutes later and was happy. And that happens because people that are there where decisions are needed can make the decisions. This wasn't always easy. There were failures and pitfalls on the way. I remember one guy, he was enjoying this freedom so much, and he took it so literally that he had been working on a side project all the time. At the end, he left the company to start his own company. And I'm like, I'm happy for the guy because the company is a success, but this is not really the way it's meant. But these small pitfalls are so much more than offset by the energy that you unleash by building your organization on trust, that this is definitely worth it. Think about it as a Christmas tree. A Christmas tree has one light at the top. And if this is the only light that glows, the rest of the tree is dark. If this is the only place where decisions are taken, where strategies are envisaged, and where people think, then you have a whole bunch of people that are just implemented what other people think. And they don't even know why they're doing it. And they're totally frustrated. But if you start switching on all these small lights by giving trust, ownership, empowerment, respect to the people, then these lights goes on and on and on and on. And after a while, the whole tree is glowing. And this is an exponential process. During the pandemic we're going through, at the beginning, we went overnight from working in the office to working from home. What do you think was the biggest challenge that millions of companies faced at that time? Was it technology? No, it wasn't technology. You can go on Teams or Zoom overnight. You can put all your documents on the cloud in a matter of days, and you can even digitalize a paper archive in a matter of weeks. Those companies that struggled the most were the companies that lacked a strong culture. Those companies that were used to micromanage and control their employees, they had a really hard time. When people are at home, you can't control them anymore. The good news is that this shift forced a lot of companies to rethink their culture and to move the first steps towards a trust-based organization. What were your thoughts at the beginning of the pandemic? Were you thinking probably the same things that I was thinking and everyone else? So, are my people going to be distracted by their kids, by housework? Are they gonna work from home? Are they gonna be productive? How am I going to motivate them? How am I going to align them? Are they even gonna cheat on me? How cool would it be if you didn't have to ask yourself all those questions? How cool would it be if you could trust your people to act in the best interest of the company towards that common vision that you established? How cool would it be if you could treat your people like adults and not like kids? There is a better way. It takes time, it's not easy, and it takes the courage to let go. But if you find that courage, then I promise you, magic happens.